The hull of Concord on Beryllium Prime shimmered under layers of bioglass and atmosphere filters, a jewel of the Galactic Council's might. Delegates from 500 species hovered, slithered, or sat within their designated spheres, each shimmering with the color of their system. At the chamber's core, High Marshal Scuveth Karn of the Threxian war clans stepped onto the speaking dais, his crimson armor clanking softly under the ambient grav field. He didn't need a translator. His voice thundered in Galactic Common. Once again I ask, how long do we let these humans insult us with their silence? A low murmur rippled across the chamber. Karn raised a clawed hand and flared his throat sack, the Threxian gesture for contempt. 50 years since we welcomed them to this council. 32 since their last official transmission. 10 since they cut their diplomatic channels. No emissaries. No colonies. No presence in the trade spheres. And yet they remain within our jurisdiction, untouched. From a quadrant of vapor-filled water orbs, the Celadrin diplomat floated forward. Humans are cautious. Their wars cost them dearly. Perhaps their silence is peace. Silence is the mask of fear, Karn snapped. Cowards hoard weapons in the dark. We let them fester long enough. The Verelian counselor floated forward on her anti-grav pad. And what would you suggest, Marshal? Karn's mandibles clicked. A reconnaissance mission. One stealth vessel. Let us see what the Terrans truly are. The chamber paused. Then murmurs. Then nods. Motion passed. Thousands of light years away, beneath layers of basalt and reinforced alloy, a woman watched the vote unfold on a grainy screen. Same performance. Same arrogance, Elara Miles said quietly. She stood at the center of a circular command hub beneath the Icelandic crust. Around her, quiet analysts parsed council audio through Earth's listening network. No alerts. No panic. Just cool, practiced observation. Her assistant, Major Dean, leaned closer. They voted? One probe ship. Threxian built. Cloaked. It'll reach Mars orbit in 4 days. Dean whistled. That's bold. Elara didn't smile. It's predictable. She turned to the main screen. A rotating three-dimensional schematic of the Sol system shimmered, layered with invisible nets and trigger zones. Every trajectory into Earth's orbit was logged, calculated, and countered, long before any outsider guessed. Project Null wasn't theory anymore. It was operational. She tapped a node on the display, Sentinel-9, a dormant kinetic defense satellite camouflaged in orbital junk. Its AI was awake, hungry, and quiet. Authorize passive tracking. No engagement unless provoked, Elara ordered. Copy that, Dean replied. No signal from Earth leaves this room? Nothing leaves Earth at all. 40 years ago, humanity's first contact with the Kestran Dominion was met with awe and panic. By the time Earth was offered observer status in the Galactic Council, internal tensions had cooled, but trust was fragile. The early human envoys were cautious, polite, and unusually silent. Other species broadcast culture, ambition, and conquest. Humans just listened. They asked questions, studied everything, gave nothing back. It didn't take long for the jokes to start. The quiet ones. The ghost monkeys. Terrans brave in fiction, absent in fact. And Earth never corrected them. What the Council didn't know, Earth wasn't retreating. Earth was planning. 4 days later, on the edge of the Sol system, a Threxian stealth vessel blinked out of slip space. Dark pulsed engines, no emissions, hull cooled to match the vacuum. Pilot Scar monitored the feeds. No contact. No EM bursts. The Terrans are either dead or asleep. The probe entered Mars orbit. 5 minutes passed. Deploying scan pulse. Pulse released. Nothing. Then, static. The screen flared. Systems froze. A thin, high-frequency tone pierced the cockpit. Scar reached for controls and saw something shimmer in the black, like a shadow moving across a dead star. Then silence. All telemetry from the probe vanished. Verelian Prime. Emergency session. The probe's signal terminated without warning. The counselor of trade barked. No distress. No impact. The humans have weapons, Karn hissed. We cannot wait. Others protested. It could be an accident. Cosmic interference. Enough. Karn jabbed a talon at the display. They are not harmless. They are not silent. They are preparing. He paused. Then leaned into the mic. We must act. Below Iceland, Alara Miles received the news calmly. Sentry grid confirmed contact and neutralization, Dean reported. No counterscan, no signal scatter. They never saw it coming. Good, Alara murmured. She studied the stars projected above her. For decades, Earth's surface had gone quiet. No deep space colonies. No diplomatic treaties. The planet's image, damaged, reclusive, irrelevant. That fiction had bought them time. In orbit, thousands of kinetic rods floated like forgotten relics. In the belt, ghost ships sat cold and loaded. Earth's quantum AIs whispered through dead channels, decoding every byte from Council networks. Alara exhaled. They had prepared for this. The next move was theirs. The black box from the Threxian stealth probe arrived at Verelion Prime 2 days later, shattered and corrupted. The data fragments were scrambled beyond standard recovery, laced with magnetic distortions. The ship's last readable telemetry showed one thing: it hadn't failed. It had been dismantled, cleanly, surgically, and silently. High Marshal Scoveth Karn stared at the flickering display from the probe's memory core, his claws tapping against his command console. The room behind him was empty. He'd cleared it. He didn't want advisors. Not this time. Terrans, he muttered. The human silence no longer amused him. It felt deliberate. Designed. And now it irritated him in a way nothing else did. No challenge. No reply. No weakness. Just that cold, maddening nothing. Back on Earth, deep beneath the Antarctic ice, the Terran Defense Directive's Arctic Annex remained a hum of quiet coordination. Commander Alara Miles stood before a wall of shifting threat maps. The probe's intrusion had triggered Sentinel-9, exactly as expected. Kinetic suppression. Zero energy emissions. No detectable debris. Textbook. A dozen analysts tracked Council network traffic, parsing every microreaction to the probe's disappearance. The Threxians had begun redacting logs. Council delegates whispered of retribution. One line, flagged in red, blinked across the top of Alara's screen. Karn preparing false flag. Asset acquisition in motion. Major Dean approached, eyes grim. Looks like Karn's going for a fake attack. They're modifying one of their own freighters to resemble a Terran vessel. Alara nodded once. Let him. He'll fool the Council. Not for long. 2 days later, a diplomatic freighter carrying Council trade delegates exploded in the Dorian sector. The wreckage was found adrift, hulls slagged, comm logs purged, except for one file, a grainy image of an Earth-flagged vessel releasing a payload of plasma charges. Within hours, the media erupted. Terran aggression confirmed? Earth breaks silence with attack. Ghost monkeys strike first? On Verelion Prime, Karn stood before the Council again, this time with evidence. He roared, fangs bared. What more do you need? They kill and vanish. They mock your patience. Approve retaliatory deployment now. Most delegates murmured in agreement. The vote leaned toward authorization. But as Karn spoke, the lights in the chamber flickered. Just once. Then again. Screens around the chamber went dark for exactly 11 seconds. No sound. No alerts. Just pure black. Then a voice, human, female, calm, spoke through every system on Verelion Prime. This lie is yours. We do not trade in illusions. We warn no one because we owe you nothing. We are not prey. You are not hunters. Let this be the last time. The silence that followed was deafening. The systems restored. The lights returned. Delegates sat in stunned silence. Someone whispered, They're listening. Protocol Argus completed without trace, Dean reported. No AI fingerprints. No trail. They don't know how we breached the Council grid. They don't need to, Ilara said. They just need to doubt everything now. She walked the length of the ops floor, eyes scanning holographic reports. Panic was spreading in Council territory. Kestron markets dipped. Celadron communication hubs reported anomalies. Dozens of minor species requested withdrawal from any Earth-adjacent negotiations. Fear is leverage, she muttered. And they just gave us all the rope we need. Dean studied her. If this keeps up, they'll have no choice but to escalate. They're already preparing a fleet, she said calmly. You sure? Ilara turned to him. I'd bet soul on it. Aboard the flagship Threx Dominance, Karn walked through the war deck, inspecting his assembled armada. 18 capital ships. Hundreds of auxiliary craft. Weapons charged. Stealth fields tested. All heading for the Sol system. They expect weakness, Karn growled to his second-in-command. They'll meet fire. His officers cheered. Victory was certain. After all, Earth had no colonies. No known fleet. No allies. Only their one world spinning quietly in a neglected system. He grinned. We'll break their silence with fire. In a remote lunar facility, hidden within the shadows of Tycho Crater, Terran Fleet Command watched as the Threxian battle group activated their slipstream drives. Confirmed vector, Sol. ETA, 46 hours. Ilara stared at the projection. Run the drills. Bring sentries 2 through 5 online. Activate blackout protocols. One of the junior officers hesitated. Commander, they're coming to wage war. No, she said quietly. They're coming to learn. Verelian Prime remained stunned in the wake of Earth's message. The delegates met again, but something had shifted. The laughter was gone. The arrogance had dimmed. They breached our primary comm grid, one council whispered. With no trace. They accessed secure diplomatic channels. They knew of the vote before it passed. Paranoia took hold. And all of it, Ilara had calculated. Humanity had built nothing in the open. No declarations. No empires. Just silence. But behind it, Earth had grown teeth. They didn't want war. But they would no longer tolerate being ignored. Ilara stood before a screen showing the Threxian fleet closing in. Time to contact them? Dean asked. She shook her head. Let them come closer. The Threxian fleet broke into the Sol system with practiced precision. 18 capital-class dreadnoughts fanned into attack formation, flanked by dozens of smaller warships. Their dark hulls shimmered with cloaking disruptors and energy-dispersing armor. A formation designed to intimidate. There was no resistance. No broadcast. No sign of life. Status? Karn demanded from the command throne aboard Threx Dominance. Clear path to Earth, his sensor chief replied. No defense grids. No orbital movement. They're open, Karn sneered. Just as I said. Weak to the core. Yet something itched at the back of his mind. Too quiet. He ordered the fleet forward. On the moon, beneath a layer of crushed regolith, Commander Ilara Miles watched from her war room as the fleet entered Earth's kill zone. Final confirmation, she said, her voice a whisper of steel. Targets locked, the lead technician responded. All platforms synchronized. Authorization code? Another asked. Ilara looked up at the projection of the Earth, a pale blue marble drifting in space. Ghost Protocol, Phase 3. Execute. Above Earth, what looked like harmless orbital debris began to move. From behind shattered satellite husks, a web of kinetic launchers deployed. Dozens of Earth stealth platforms, invisible to all but the most precise quantum scans, activated simultaneously. They didn't broadcast warnings. They didn't hail. They just fired. Massive tungsten rods, the size of ancient missiles, tore through the vacuum at terminal velocity, slamming into the Threxian fleet. 3 dreadnoughts disintegrated in the opening minute. No energy signatures. No traceable emissions. Just pure physics and gravity, weaponized. On board Threx Dominance, alarm screamed. Impact! Direct hit, Carnath Rex destroyed. Where are they hitting from? We can't get locks. The debris, it's not debris. Karn stood, fists clenched, his jaw twitching. Return fire! Random sweeps! Wipe the orbit clean! But their targeting systems were blind. Earth had laced the region with quantum jamming fields, scrambling their sensors. The enemy was nowhere, and everywhere. More ships fell. Threxian battle formations crumbled into chaos. Inside Lunar Command, Alara's tone remained measured. Advance drone wing. Shift asteroid defense platforms to intercept grid. Secondary targets? Only if they fire again. If they run, let them. Her strategy was simple: do not conquer, do not destroy. Humiliate them with precision. Let the galaxy see what humanity had become. Karn's fleet was bleeding. Desperate, he initiated full retreat protocols. Prepare slipstream jump! His navigator shouted. Coordinates! Wait! No lanes available! What? Hyperlane exits are scrambled. We're boxed in. Behind them, several asteroids shimmered, then moved. They weren't natural. Earth had hollowed them out, armored them, and hidden full strike fleets inside. Now they closed in like wolves circling prey. From the bridge of a cloaked Terran command vessel hidden behind Jupiter's shadow, Admiral Sarai Hume watched the chaos unfold. Visual feed to Virelian? She asked. Broadcasting in all Council languages, her comms officer replied. The feed showed the crippled Threxian dreadnoughts spiraling, engines dead. No counterattack. No survivors beyond those allowed to retreat. It was a message. Earth could win, but chose not to destroy. On Virelian Prime, the Galactic Council chamber was in uproar. Councilors stared in silence as Earth's forces, previously believed extinct, or primitive, routed one of the most powerful fleets in the galaxy without speaking a word. They let them run, someone said, voice shaking. Why? Asked another. Because, answered the Virelian delegate slowly. They wanted us to see. Back on the moon, Alara received word. The surviving Threxian ships had escaped Sol's boundary, limping, damaged, terrified. She nodded once. Shut it down. Stand by posture. Keep the grid cold. Dean approached her, hesitating. They'll return. Maybe not tomorrow, but... They won't, Alara said. They'll remember what they saw. What we didn't say. A day later, an emergency session of the Galactic Council stripped Karn of all rank and military authority. He did not attend. His defeat had become a cautionary tale, of arrogance, of noise, of misunderstanding silence. A single message arrived from Earth, transmitted across secure diplomatic bands. No theatrics. Just one statement. We asked to be left alone? We prepared when you refused. Now you understand. No signature. No follow-up. Just the cold, calculated end of a conversation that had never truly begun. In the months that followed, Council fleets avoided Earth's territory. New treaties were drawn, quietly, and without debate. The word, Terran, no longer meant coward. It meant consequence. Alara stood alone beneath a glass dome in the Terran Arctic Command. The stars above were clear, brilliant, indifferent. She didn't smile. Victory didn't feel like triumph. It felt like necessity. Dean's voice broke the silence over comms. Ma'am, what now? She looked toward the sky. We vanish again.